Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? I was gonna start the video out um with a few videos. So the first topic's gonna be about the seven deadly sins, and then we will go from there on a couple different other videos. So hold on a second while I grab the files. And okay, third one.
The seven deadly sins are a fundamental concept in Christian teachings. They represent the most common and destructive vices that can corrupt the human soul. These sins are not merely actions, but inclinations that can lead to more serious transgressions. Understanding these vices is crucial for spiritual growth and living a virtuous life. Nature. They tempt us to stray from the path of righteousness. Each sin represents an excess or perversion of a natural human desire or appetite. Recognizing these sins within ourselves is the first step towards overcoming them. By cultivating the corresponding virtues, we can resist temptation and strive for a more fulfilling and virtuous life. The seven deadly sins serve as a reminder of our human frailty. They challenge us to examine our hearts and seek spiritual guidance. The concept of the seven deadly sins has a long history. It began with the Desert Fathers in early Christianity. Evagrius Ponticus identified 8 evil thoughts. Pope Gregory the Firm later condensed them into 7. This classification has remained largely unchanged. These sins were seen as serious impediments to spiritual progress. They became central in medieval theology and literature. Lust
Hey,
is an
everybody.
intense desire that can manifest in various forms, often associated with sexual desire, but encompassing any craving for pleasure or possessions. It becomes a sin when it consumes our thoughts and actions, leading us to disregard morality and responsibility. Lust is driven by selfishness and a lack of self-control. It seeks immediate gratification without considering the consequences for oneself or others. This vice can lead to infidelity, objectification of others, and a distorted view of love and intimacy. History and literature offer numerous examples of individuals consumed by lust, from the biblical account of David and Bathsheba to the tragic tale of Romeo and Juliet. Lust often plays a destructive role, leading to downfall and despair. In the modern world, lust manifests in various ways, fueled by consumerism, media, and the accessibility of explicit content. It can lead to addiction, broken relationships, and a constant sense of dissatisfaction. Gluttony. The sin of overindulgence centers around excessive consumption, particularly of food and drink. It represents a lack of self-control and a disregard for moderation, often stemming from a desire for pleasure or comfort. While enjoying food is not inherently wrong, gluttony arises when we prioritize consumption over our well-being and allow it to control our lives. It reflects a lack of gratitude for what we have and a disregard for the needs of others. Throughout history, gluttony has been depicted as a vice associated with greed and excess. From lavish feasts in ancient Rome to the opulent banquets of the medieval era, overindulgence has often been a marker of societal decadence. In modern times, gluttony manifests in various forms, including overeating, binge drinking, and an obsession with material possessions. It contributes to health problems, environmental issues, and a widening gap between the haves and have-nots. Greed is an insatiable desire for wealth, possessions, or power. Prioritizes personal gain above all else, often at the expense of others. Greed can manifest in various forms, from hoarding wealth to exploiting others. This vice stems from a scarcity mindset, a belief that there is never enough. It can lead to behavior and a disregard for others. Greed can poison relationships and fuel conflicts. Section 6. Sloth, apathy, and laziness. Sloth, often misunderstood as mere laziness, encompasses a deeper spiritual apathy. It is a reluctance to exert oneself physically, mentally, or spiritually, leading to stagnation and a lack of purpose. Sloth manifests as procrastination, indifference, and a lack of motivation to pursue meaningful endeavors. It can stem from fear of failure, a sense of entitlement, or a lack of direction in life. This vice can lead to missed opportunities, unfulfilled potential, and a sense of emptiness. Throughout history, sloth has been depicted as a spiritual ailment that hinders personal growth and societal progress. From the parable of the talents in the Bible to the depiction of the slothful in Dante's Inferno, this sin represents a failure to embrace life's opportunities. In the modern world, sloth manifests in various ways, including excessive screen time, procrastination, and a lack of engagement in meaningful activities. Section 7. Wrath, uncontrolled anger. Wrath, the sin of uncontrolled anger, represents a loss of reason and composure. It is a destructive emotion that can manifest as rage, hatred, and violence. Wrath can lead to rash decisions, broken relationships, and acts of aggression. History is filled with examples of individuals and nations consumed by wrath. Section 8. Envy, resentment, and jealousy. Envy is a corrosive emotion rooted in the resentment of another person's possessions, achievements, or qualities. It stems from a sense of inadequacy and a desire for what others have, often leading to bitterness, resentment, and a desire to see others fail. Envy is driven by comparison and a scarcity mindset, a belief that someone else's gain is our loss. It can poison relationships, hinder personal growth, and create a climate of negativity and competition. History and literature are replete with examples of individuals consumed by envy. From the biblical story of Cain and Abel to Shakespeare's Othello, envy often plays a destructive role, leading to betrayal, violence, and despair. In the modern world, envy manifests in various ways, fueled by social media, consumerism, and the constant comparison of ourselves to others. It can lead to feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, and a desire to tear others down. Section 9. Pride, the root of all sin. Pride, often considered the deadliest of the 7 deadly sins, is an excessive belief in one's own importance. It leads to arrogance, a sense of superiority, and a lack of humility. Pride blinds us to our own flaws, making us resistant to feedback. It can manifest as vanity and boasting. Pride can lead to isolation and a fall from grace. Throughout history, pride has been depicted as the downfall of many great figures. From Lucifer's rebellion to Greek heroes, pride often precedes a fall.
So that was a video about 7 deadly sins that I made recently, and I will follow up with the 7 pillars of a virtuous life.
In the vast expanse of human experience, we are constantly searching for meaning, purpose, and a path to a fulfilling life. Throughout history, philosophers and theologians have pondered the nature of good and evil, seeking to define the principles that lead to a life of virtue. From these explorations emerged the 7 heavenly virtues, a set of guiding principles designed to elevate the human spirit and illuminate the path toward moral excellence. These virtues, often depicted as shining beacons of hope, offer a timeless framework for navigating the complexities of life and becoming the best versions of ourselves. The 7 heavenly virtues are not merely abstract concepts confined to dusty theological texts. They are living principles, relevant today as they were centuries ago, that empower us to cultivate inner strength, compassion, and wisdom. Each virtue, like a facet of a precious gem, reflects a unique aspect of human potential and offers a pathway to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. By embracing these virtues, we embark on a transformative journey of self-discovery and growth, shaping our character and influencing the world around us for the better. As we delve into the rich history and profound meaning of each virtue, we will uncover practical ways to integrate these principles into our daily lives. From the discipline of temperance to the transformative power of charity, each virtue offers valuable insights into cultivating a life of purpose, integrity, and joy. By embracing these timeless principles, we can navigate the challenges of modern life with grace, resilience, and a deep sense of purpose. The concept of virtue has captivated philosophers and theologians for centuries, with roots stretching back to ancient Greece. Aristotle, in his Nicomachean Ethics, explored the nature of virtue, emphasizing the importance of cultivating habits that lead to eudaimonia, a state of flourishing and well-being. For Aristotle, virtue was not merely an intellectual exercise, but a way of life developed through practice and habituation. Early Christian thinkers drew upon these classical ideas, integrating them with their own theological framework. Augustine of Hippo, a towering figure in Christian thought, emphasized the role of divine grace in achieving virtue. He believed that human beings, while capable of reason and moral choice, were ultimately dependent on God's grace to overcome the effects of sin and live a truly virtuous life. Thomas Aquinas, a prominent theologian of the 13th century, further developed the concept of virtue, synthesizing Aristotelian philosophy with Christian theology. Aquinas viewed virtue as a habit that perfects the human soul, enabling us to act in accordance with reason and divine law. His work, particularly the Summa Theologica, remains a cornerstone of Catholic moral theology and continues to influence ethical thought today. Through the centuries, the concept of virtue has evolved and been shaped by various cultural and religious influences. However, its core principles, emphasizing moral excellence, character development, and living a life aligned with one's highest values, continue to resonate across time and cultures. The seven heavenly virtues, as we know them today, emerged from this rich tapestry of thought, offering a timeless framework for living a life of purpose, integrity, and meaning. The formalization of the seven heavenly virtues is often attributed to Pope Gregory I, also known as Gregory the Great, who served as Pope from 590 to 604 AD. A man of deep spirituality and intellectual prowess, Gregory played a pivotal role in shaping the moral and theological landscape of the early church. Drawing upon the writings of earlier theologians and philosophers, he sought to provide a clear and accessible framework for Christian living. Gregory recognized the importance of combating the seven deadly sins, vices that could lead individuals astray from the path of righteousness. To counter these negative tendencies, he proposed the seven heavenly virtues as antidotes, positive qualities that could help individuals overcome temptation and live in accordance with God's will. Through his teachings and writings, Gregory emphasized that the pursuit of virtue was not merely an individual endeavor, but communal responsibility, essential for the well-being of society as a whole. Gregory's articulation of the seven heavenly virtues had a profound impact on the development of Christian thought and practice. His teachings became widely disseminated throughout Europe, influencing monastic orders, shaping the education of clergy, and providing guidance for lay people seeking to live a more devout life. The virtues became deeply embedded in Christian art, literature, and iconography, serving as visual reminders of the ideals to which individuals should aspire. And the legacy of Pope Gregory I extends far beyond his own time. His work continues to inspire individuals from all walks of life, offering a timeless framework for character development and moral excellence. The seven heavenly virtues, as he articulated them, remain powerful tools for navigating the complexities of life, fostering personal growth, and contributing to a more just and compassionate world. In a world that often feels dominated by excess, finding balance can be a real challenge. It's about more than just moderation. It's about understanding our needs versus our wants. By embracing the seven heavenly virtues, we can navigate through life's temptations and distractions with a clearer sense of purpose and direction. Each virtue offers a guiding light, helping us to stay grounded and focused on what truly matters. So let's explore how these timeless principles can help us achieve harmony in our daily lives. Love, in its truest form, is more than just a feeling. It's an action, a commitment to the well-being of others. When practiced, it has the power to transform lives, communities, and even the world. By choosing love, we choose to see the best in others, to forgive, to heal, and to build bridges where there were once walls. Persistence and effort are the cornerstones of achieving greatness. They remind us that success is not born out of talent alone, but through continuous hard work and determination. When we embrace these values, we learn to overcome obstacles, to rise after every fall, and to keep moving forward no matter how tough the journey may seem. Often the true heroes of virtue are those who go unnoticed. They are the individuals who quietly uphold the virtues in their daily lives, making a difference in small but significant ways. Their actions may not make headlines, but they create ripples that inspire and uplift those around them. These unsung heroes remind us that each of us has the power to live virtuously, no matter our circumstances. The seven heavenly virtues serve as a timeless compass, guiding us towards a fulfilling and meaningful life. By embracing these virtues, we cultivate a sense of purpose, strengthen our character, and build a foundation for lasting happiness. They remind us that in the ever-changing landscape of life, the principles of goodness, kindness, and integrity remain constant and true.
Well, that one is the last of that video. Hold on. Let me go pop this up. So I'll go through my bullet points, and I'll just reference them on here. So I'll go for the first part that says, pride, often considered the most serious sin, is an excessive belief in one's own abilities that interfere with recognizing the grace of God. I think sometimes people are too proud of themselves. I think you should be proud of yourself, but there's a difference between being sure of yourself and saying like, I'm a good worker, or I do really good at this, or I like great, or something like that, opposed to trying to make somebody feel bad. Like if you were to compare yourself to others and be arrogant about it, that's where I think pride is bad. Or like, let's hypothetically say you get into an argument with the person and you're too proud to say that you were wrong, um, which could uh, worsen a relationship with another person because you'll never apologize to them. And basically, at that point, you could wind up, ending a friendship or something because a person's too prideful to admit that they might have been wrong. Um, and that can go in multiple ways. That could apply to me as well. Um, because there's been times in my life where I was too proud, um, and like even if I knew that I was wrong, I would still prove somebody that I was right. And really, all that did was kind of make me look dumb, just because even though I might have won the argument, it didn't make me look better because I was trying to prove a point, even when I was wrong in the situation. But I try not to. I'm not going to go say I am proud of myself, but I don't over glorify the stuff I do. For me personally. Um, as for greed, that's the next one. And we're saying that greed is a desire for material wealth or gain, ignoring the realm of the spiritual. Um, Greed can be a horrible thing when somebody could choose money over relationships, when people can, all they care about is nice cars or nice houses. You're not being greedy if you're working, you're trying to like pull overtime or something. Now, people that might work with you, they might think you're being greedy because maybe they get certain hours, maybe you get more than them or something, but that's not being greedy. Greedy would kind of, I would say, would be like if you have an overabundance of stuff, you're not willing to help other people out, if you're able to, or the kind of like the idea of somebody wanting to be buried with all their possessions or something like that. That's complete greed. A person that has a friend of theirs that's struggling and isn't willing to help them out because it would mess with their bank account or something. That's greed. Now, it's not necessarily, if they're able to, and if it doesn't do a detriment to them. I would consider those kind of things greed. Um, there's a whole bunch of different types of scenarios of what greed could be. Um, uh, what was it? There was an example of greed from the Twilight Zone. I think it was the Twilight Zone. And there's this man, and he ran this business, and he was trying to make everything automized, right? So in the episode, he started cutting um, employees, and he seemed to not really care much about that, and at all, and the people were kind of recognizing it. And then he started making new procedures that would eliminate positions. And so then there was less people at his company, right? And then he made it to where like the company didn't really require anybody except maintenance technicians. And then they all left because they were just kind of fed up with this person. And the guy had like some type of crazy thing that was making the doors open and shut. And everything just got crazy. And so the maintenance worker told him, because he was like, "Is everything good?" He's like, "Yes." And he just walked out of the door. And the guy like shut something off to where you can't open the door up. And at the end of the day, his greed, because he was trying to be wealthy, um, and he wanted to cut all of his employees, and he didn't care. He wasn't able to escape this factory that he loved or he loved the money he was making in the factory. So, because of this greed that this guy had, um, he was trapped inside of his own building because all of his employees walked out of him. And so that's an example of greed. Um, and we will go from greed to what is this of wrath? Wrath is intense emotional state involving a strong, uncomfortable, and hostile response to a perceived provocation, hurt, or threat. Um, I Wrath, I guess, could be extreme rage. If people get into an argument and they go well overboard what they should have ever done, going ballistic verbally, going ballistic physically, um, or kind of, like, you know, if people were to target people, that would I consider to be wrath if that was through revenge and they were to target people systematically and like destroy their life for a decade or so. I would consider that to be wrath. I feel like I'm a victim of wrath. I've never committed that. So, but if I were to compare being a targeted individual or to relate to the term of gang stalking or um, through what I feel I endure, I would consider myself a victim of wrath, unfortunately. And I absolutely disagree with the concept of wrath. Envy. Envy is the desire for others' traits, status, abilities, or situations. Um, I recognize envy all the time. I really do believe that a lot of people envy me. I've had a lot of people tell me they want to be me. Um, I've also had people, um, you know, and I would, my response to that when I've been told by a person that they want to be me, is that I don't know why you wouldn't want to be yourself. You know, you're cool. Um, and you don't want to walk in my shoes. That's what I've told people. Um, but as for envy, I've never envied anybody in my life. I've respected people. Um, I've wanted to aspire to be like people, but I've never envied them. I've never had that feeling in my life. But I know a lot of people have felt that way at times in their life. Um, but I don't really relate with it. I do understand what envy is because I feel like I'm a victim of envy. Um, Gluttony. Gluttony is the excess and ongoing eating of food and or drinks. I would say at a point in my life, I have had been gluttonous. Now, could I say I had been gluttonous for because I at one point used to drink a lot, and I had been gluttonous with alcohol at a point in my life. Um, and I think it did a detriment on me at a point when I was younger. Um, I overindulged in that, but that's a long time ago. You know, I've definitely grown up within the last 20 years. Um, I have, at a point in my life, probably eat more than I ever should have. Um, I, but that's never been too big of a factor for me. But um, I would say probably just overindulging in anything. You know, they say even overindulging in water could be bad for a person. Um, Now, what else? The next one is going to be sloth, which is laziness or the failure to act and utilize one's talents. Um, I am definitely not lazy, not by far. I do an awful lot of stuff. Um, the only time I really become lazy is when I'm at home. When I'm working nonstop. I do so much stuff. The average person um, might not be able to compare with how much I do. There might be some people that do a lot more than me, and some people that do less. I don't. I'm never lazy at work. Um, I would say the only time I'm really ever lazy, I would say, would be when I'm at home. Um, it's probably the only time I could say that actually applies to me. Um, but I do think laziness can be bad for you because when I guess I got a little lazy 4 or 5 years ago when I was on unemployment. And the example of why I would say that when I became lazy when I was on unemployment, where it was bad for me, was I was laying down on my bed an awful lot, and I lost a lot of my muscle just from kind of laying around and not being active. And I my back was hurting like dramatically, and like if you lay down every day and you don't do much of anything, it'll do detriment to your physical health. Um, so that is what I've got there for those particular things. If anybody has anything to add or they want to talk about anything, I'd be more than welcome for us to talk. Um, but I'm going to write some more bullet points down. This will take a couple minutes. Okay. And right. I only got a couple more to write down. Mm, Oh, apparently writing the same thing. I've got one more to write down, and then I will go off of those. All right. Well, hopefully, I wouldn't mind if somebody joins the chat. Definitely wouldn't, but wouldn't mind that. But all right. Now, where am I at right now? Okay, so now on the flip side, because I'm going to flip this how I would like on humility contradicts pride by cultivating a sense of modesty and respect for others. Typically, I try to show people um, respect, and I try to be modest with others in the world. I've always tried to show people respect throughout my life. There's been points that I have disrespected people. I think just about all of us have. Nobody's perfect. Um, but in my current life, as me nowadays, I definitely try to have a sense of modesty and respect for others. Um, it seems like in my life, unfortunately, I'm battling others trying to not respect me, but there's not the way I look at things is I can't control anybody's actions, and I can't make anyone act differently. I can't make people respect me if they choose not to. But I can still respect them, um, or just not engage with them. Um, Charity opposes greed by promoting generous actions and love for others. I typically am charitable towards people that I'm friends with or family with. I'm very charitable. Um, and I think charity can get you a lot of places. You know, if you see a person that's struggling and you're around them often, and you help them out periodically, maybe they're hungry and you help them out with food, or maybe a person's struggling with their light bill or something, and you help them pay it. And you just do it out of the kindness of your heart. You don't ask for anything in return. You know, that's charity. You know, you don't have to donate $100,000 to anyone, or you know, these GoFundMe accounts, which those are nice if people do that. Um, but I don't think it's a requirement. Um, I don't think that anyone is better when they have like they can say that they donated $50,000 to whatever charitable organization, opposed to you helping someone out in a time of need. Nobody's better in the situation. I respect both situations. Um, but as for me, I'm typically pretty charitable. Unfortunately, I would say I have my charity has been taken advantage of at times, but you know, we can't always do anything about that. Chastity, addressing lust by encouraging purity and self-control. Um, yeah, there's nothing wrong with chastity. Um, I uh, I feel like I've been forced into chastity um, through being targeted. I haven't been in a relationship for 5 years, not by choice necessarily, by choice and not by choice. Um, I have particular, I guess, standards. I definitely don't want to repeat any previous cycles with people. Um, I wouldn't want to. I would not go back out with any of my previous people, and because if you're an ex for a reason. Um, Unfortunately, even if you still care about any of the people from your past, they pro- typically, I think, usually relationships that if they ended, there was a reason they ended. And if they ended bad, they're probably not going to start back up good. It's probably going to be a lot of work to build that relationship back up with a person. If you had a bad relationship with them, and that's why you ended it. And um, I kind of expect to be with a person that obviously would love me, but would also love themselves. Um, and then obviously, you have to be with a person that can financially take care of themselves too. I would, if I were to be with a person, I want to be with a person that has everything together. I would prefer to have somebody that has a job, that can take care of their own place. I prefer cohabitation, but obviously, I would, it's important to be with a person that, they can pay their end of the bargain, and kind of go Dutch on bills, in my opinion. So you both contribute in the household. I'm from that school of thought. Um, but other than that, I don't know. I've been single for 5 years, so I guess it's like some type of rebranding for me. But other than that, um, we'll go on to the next one. Gratitude stands against envy by fostering a sense of thankfulness and appreciation. I tell people that I appreciate them. And it's nice to have people tell you they appreciate you, you know? It's like if you're at home and like maybe you have kids and your kids tell you that they love you. That's a form of appreciation. That's great to hear. Anyone loves to hear that their kids love them, or their friends or family, you know? Um, when you're at work and you do a good job and somebody recognizes you for it, and they say, "Hey, you're doing a great job." That's cool when people say that, as long as it's genuine, if they really mean it. Not if they're just saying it, because it seems like nowadays there's some type of "I appreciate you" agenda going on, and like you can go to the grocery store and then they say, "I appreciate you." Okay, thank you. That's a good comment, but it kind of doesn't make sense sometimes. Um, and other scenarios where it seems like I hear it all the time, which is a good thing. I'm glad to hear that. But if if it's kind of told to you and there's like no substance behind it, no reasoning behind it, it becomes confusing. Why a person would say, "I appreciate you," but they didn't even have much of any reason to say that. Um, so then it kind of loses its feel, you know. Um, but gratitude is very much so. It'd be like if somebody said, "Hey, can you give me a ride to the store?" Right? And you did 3 hours worth of driving them around or something, and then they just went home and they didn't even say thank you. Well, that's being ungrateful. Um, and a lot of people are ungrateful, but if you practice gratitude, there's nothing wrong with that. And obviously, that that stands against envy. You know, um, let's go on to the next one. Temperance balances gluttony by promoting moderation and self-restraint. Um, I would say that I typically practice moderation in anything that I guess in the past maybe I overindulged in. Um, and I have self-restraint on, it's just like imagine, or I think I practice self-restraint the most on is like anger management, because I'm poked and prodded all the time, like somebody poking a bear, and I hold my anger back, um, because it's meant to try to upset me, but I practice self-restraint by not reacting, by not yelling at people, by not telling people to F off. and stuff like that. And a lot of the times I'm told by people to do those things, but I don't think you should. I don't think it helps anything out by cussing people out. I don't think it helps you out by yelling. I don't think it, like when people tell you go scream at the clouds, you know, like imagine if you were being observed by people, right? And you're so stressed out, you're at work or you're in your neighborhood or something, right? Then somebody said, well, when you're upset with people, go out by yourself and scream as loud as you can, but you're being observed. And then these people are like, oh, look at that lunatic screaming at the clouds, So I don't believe it. I get it. Like if you were, let's go say hiking or something, and you would like no one was around you, and you wanted to get all that frustration out of you, and you just screamed at the sky. I think that'd be all right. But when you're out in the city, like if you're in a parking lot and you just scream at all the cars or something, that's gonna make you look like a lunatic. And it would do the same thing to you if you did that at work, if you did that in your neighborhood. It's like, don't do that. People give people bad advice, and that is horrible advice for anyone to ever give somebody. And I've been given that advice by multiple people, and no, but I definitely do not agree with that advice. But practicing self-restraint, even self-restraint, if that had to do with like screaming at the sky, because that is not helping anybody out. And hopefully that message hits somebody that needs to hear that, because if I've been told some of those things, I could tell you other people have as well. Um, Now, what is the next one? Okay, just making sure I didn't have any problem with my audio. And hopefully, like obviously, I don't have anybody on the chat tonight, but I do hope that when you guys could see the video, you could leave me a comment so I could see your opinions of the video and if you liked it. I kind of like the way the video is going tonight and the subject. I also, if you could, give me ideas on what you would like to hear in upcoming videos. Like, what kinds of things would you like me to talk about? Okay, so the next one is patience. Um, no, no. Yeah, it is. It is. So patience combats wrath by developing a forgiveness demeanor. Um, I I could definitely tell you that I practice patience. I really do believe that a lot of stuff in my life is the game of patience, and I've practiced patience for a really long time. Um, just an example, because nowadays, obviously, at least for my life, um, I get into situations like I go to the grocery store, and at the grocery store, they'll slam my drinks down. Like, I think the average person, because that shouldn't happen every time you go to the cash register, the person shouldn't grab your drink and slam it on the table, but it happens every single place I go. And I think a lot of people, if that happened to them, they would get really frustrated. Um, while I'm driving, it's like a mixture. I was kind of joking about it earlier, but like I have all these big lifted pickups around me all the time, or these race cars. And it's like the big lifted pickups that get right behind you, or the race cars, they're sports cars and all that. They're zooming in and out of you. It's almost like a mixture between like a monster truck rally and like NASCAR or something, you know. And I'm not out there trying to be on the road racing with people. Um, but um, but yeah, you know, like I have patience with people on the road, um, and a lot of people don't out there. A lot of people don't have patience with people out on the road. That's why there's a lot of really bad situations that happen. I've been put into situations that it's like I really don't want to be in those situations, and I try not to be in it anymore. Um, but like that's an example, or like imagine like you have to like you have vehicles you gotta drive, but like every single time you're trying to get to it, somebody's looking for a reaction and they pin them in and make it harder for you to get to them. You gotta move like 100 vehicles to get to one vehicle, or they'll block your vehicle on purpose, so that hopefully they're looking. I think they just want a reaction out of you. They want you to be like, "Hey, can you move that vehicle?" And then they'll do it, or they'll see you do it, or whatever, you know, or trying to get you to snap. Um, and I practice patience with that, definitely. I practice patience with being accused of things that I've never done in my life. I practice patience with rumors, with the game of telephone. Um, so I think I practice patience in a lot of different scenarios. Um, but at a point in my life, I didn't so much. I used to fly off of the handle when I was at a younger age. And I've learned how to control a lot of my demeanor. I've learned how to not be as reactive. And so I think practicing patience is a good thing, but basing your life off of patience, I don't necessarily think is good. I think you shouldn't have to think about every move you make could be a bad move or something. So, but I could keep going on and on and on because really, I think I practice patience all the time because I compare my life to like a live board game of, geez, yeah, stupid fly. But when I say I think my life is like a live action version of, aggravation of sorry, you know. Um, See, I'm practicing patience with this fly that keeps buzzing on me. Um, and Diligence, that's the next one. Diligence. So diligence counters loss through a strong work ethic and perseverance. Um, that doesn't make any sense. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to get off of this and figure something out. But that's the end of the episode. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video tonight.